Hi, I'm Kat from the Wild Alaskan Company recipe team, and today I'm going to show you how to make a salmon rice bowl with fresh ingredients. Most of the ingredients that we're going to be working with can be made ahead of time, making this recipe perfect for meal prepping or eating immediately, depending on your style of cooking throughout the week. So let's get started. The meal that we're making today is pretty straightforward. It's a salmon rice bowl. Rice, salmon on top with a couple other components. But to make it a little more fun, we're mixing in a little variety. And for instance, I've got kimchi, we've got a ripe avocado, and then I usually use salted cucumbers, but actually I tried to do a salted zucchini thing here today. All of this stuff is going to go on to a bowl of rice with cooked salmon. So the first thing that I want to start with, just to get things going, because I don't want to hold myself up, let me show you how to make salted cucumbers, which today is salted zucchini, just because I felt like trying that. So normally what I like to do as a really, really simple side for any seafood dish, it's really crunchy, fresh, and easy. So what I like to do with a cucumber, like I said, I'm trying it with zucchini today because they just looked good at the market, is slice them on a mandolin really thin. So we're talking paper-ish thin, nice thick cardstock thickness of zucchini or a cucumber. And then what we're going to do to this to enhance the texture is salt the sliced cucumber or zucchini. So what this is going to do, salting it and letting it sit in salt for about 15 minutes, is pull out some of the moisture that's in here, and it's going to give it a nicer texture to eat when it's raw. So let me go ahead and sprinkle this with salt. You don't have to go crazy with the salt, but just give some nice coverage. So I just want to make sure I toss it once or twice. If you feel like you've added too much, don't worry, because we will rinse this off later and wring things out. So this is just going to sit off to the side for 15 minutes or so for the salt to do its thing, for the osmosis magic to happen. And later, once we wring it out, it's going to look just like that. So as of right now, that is not super tasty to eat. If it's cucumbers, it's crunchy, but again, not tasty. We're going to add a couple things to it once we bring out that excess water. So now that that's going, let me talk a little bit about what we're making today. So a salmon rice bowl may not be the fanciest way to enjoy seafood, but seafood doesn't really need to be fancy to be good. The bowl that I like is satiating, colorful, fresh. You can prep some of it, if not all of it, ahead of time. Just makes things really easy to open the fridge, throw something together, and have a really nice healthy meal rather than going out when you don't really feel like it or settling for something that's less vibrant. So what I am going to add to the mix, in addition to these toppings, is we're going to make a zesty ginger lime, almost like a poke sauce if you've ever had a poke bowl, but we're not using raw fish. We're going to have a cooked fish here, a cooked salmon. What I did to prep these was I patted them dry, and then I'm just going to cook these. You really can cook them any way for a recipe like this, because the recipe really just calls for cooked flaked salmon. We're just looking for a nice healthy protein. So I'm just seasoning it very lightly with salt, little pepper, drizzled with olive oil. Any sort of cooking fat is fine if you want to go with the neutral oil. And then this giant appliance next to me is an air fryer. I figured that's the easiest way to cook it today. I'm going to air fry these fillets for maybe 6 minutes and see how they go. This fillet is a little thicker, so that one might need an extra minute or so, but the thinner one, I think 6 minutes should be good. I might try 5. Let's do 5 minutes. I'm going to air fry these at 400 degrees for 5 minutes and let those do their thing. Next thing that I want to show you is I have some steamed rice. I have a rice cooker that makes steaming rice really easy. There's a lot of appliances happening on the counter right now, but about 4 servings of rice for a meal like this. And what I'm going to do is season this with just a little bit of salt. This is just plain short grain rice right now. Season this with a little salt, toss it with some sesame oil, maybe a tablespoon or 2, just to give it a little extra flavor. This is smelling so good. I love the smell of sesame oil. Give it a taste. Should taste pretty good. We're going to add a sauce to this later, so we just want it very lightly seasoned now so that it has a little bit of flavor on its own. Let me just set this aside for now. This should be done, so let me take a peek at this fish here. All right. Actually, these look both pretty good. as you can see, the salmon looks pretty nice. I'm gonna set these into a plate so that we'll flake them here in a little bit, but I do want to let them rest while we're doing some other things, just so that they stay nice and juicy. All right, so these are just gonna hang out right here. All right, so while these are resting, what we can do is make the ginger lime poke style sauce. Very simple. What I have is 1/4 cup of soy sauce, some grated fresh ginger. Let me add that in here. I have some rice wine vinegar. And then sesame oil. We'll add a tablespoon of this. And we are also going to add in some fresh lime juice. We already have a little bit of acidity from the vinegar, but this is going to add a really nice fruity acidity to the dressing. All right, so whisk this together and then give this a little. Delicious, savory, nutty, and definitely zippy from the lime juice and ginger. We've got a little sauce going, and that is going to help flavor this whole dish together. But let me flake this fish here. What you probably will end up leaving out of the bowl itself is the fish skin. You definitely can eat this if you want to. It's not going to be the texture that you probably are looking for, but it does have a lot of those really tasty, healthy fats. Those are concentrated in the skin. So if you feel like chopping it up and kind of hiding it in the rice, we're just going to go ahead and flake this so that we have plenty of protein to work with when we're building our bowls. Like I said, this was 2 fillets. I feel like this is a lot for 2 servings unless you're very, very hungry. And I'll probably end up stashing most of this in the fridge for another day. I think this is probably about the serving that I'm looking for, maybe a little bit more than that, 1/4 of what we just cooked up. And then to this, I'm gonna toss this in some of this sauce just to coat it. Let me grab this bowl and we can start building our rice bowl. All right, I'm gonna put in a couple scoops of rice here. This looks like a good amount. And then the salmon we'll put here. All right, this is gonna go here on that quadrant of the rice. The other ingredients, my kimchi, I'll put a big handful there. This little salad that I made, yum. So these will add really nice crunch and extra diversity of vegetables to the dish. And then we've got the avocado as a nice, rich, creamy component. I just squeezed some lime over this so that it didn't oxidize while we were waiting here. Set this aside. And then to this, you can drizzle on a little extra ginger lime dressing. And for the finishing touch, if you feel moved to make a really beautiful dish, I have this little container of furikake. It's like a Japanese style seasoning blend. It's a mix of sesame seeds, seaweed, probably a little like bits of sugar and other things in here. And that's just gonna give it a little extra texture, make it a little prettier and fun. So I'm really, really looking forward to taking a bite of this here in a moment. But before we do that, we're going to go backwards because I meant to show you how to do this little salad. Right now, we have a lot of the moisture being pulled out of the zucchini, and it works the same way with sliced cucumbers. So all I'm going to do is fill up the bowl with water here, and the salt will sort of sink to the bottom. And then from here, what we want to do is brush the cucumbers or zucchini, whatever you're using, in your hand until it looks like this. From there, all we need to do is toss it in a little bit of sesame oil or oil of your choice and a little bit of minced garlic, and it turns into a really, really delicious, quick salad. Then we just want to add in some minced ginger. Super simple. You could add some scallions to this if you like, some chili flake. Give that a toss and it should be nice and delicious. Crunchy and fresh. I'll set this aside for another day. Here we go, salmon bowl, the finished product. If you want, you can eat this one piece by piece or mix things up. No judgments on how you like to eat your salmon bowls, but let me take a quick bite here with some avocado and salmon. Delicious. A lot of flavor going on, a lot of texture. When you think about rice bowls, sometimes you think it's a lot of things sort of just mushed together like a big porridge. That is not this. This is so much stuff going on and really fresh and delicious. I hope you feel inspired to make a salmon bowl, whether you're meal prepping or just eating for now, eating in the moment like I normally do. But I hope to see you next Tuesday evening. We're having an air fryer event, so it should be fun. And thanks for coming. Live wild, everyone.